Amsterdam, movie we're about to talk about, bombing at the box office, which is, us four saw it, so we're not helping the cause, but boo the director, good, don't make any money, get him out of film. It made like $6.5 million on an $80 million budget. That's bad. That's real bad. Like, that's not even...
Are we jumping right into the review? Are we talking about the movie?
I was gonna go like
poor host.
Do you want to? Yeah. Let's.
We should say that
I'm kidding.
We understand if anyone doesn't want to watch. We've only watched this because it's a big release. But if you don't want to watch this, we completely understand that. Because read up on the.
Let's jump right into it then. I'm cool with that. You guys cool with that? And we'll get to some other things afterwards. All right. So Amsterdam. It obviously has a major cast. It was obviously directed by David O. Russell, who, if you don't know anything about him, not going to get into it, but fuck that man. He can go die in a hole for all I care about. Horrible human. Not going to talk about him at all when we talk about this movie. We thought when we first saw the scores of this movie, we were like, it might be getting review bombed because of how horrible a person it is. No, it's just a shit movie. Or not a very good movie. I'm not going to go as far as to say it's complete shit, but it's not a very good movie. Probably deserves the score it has. But Amsterdam is set in the 1930s. It follows three friends, Christian Bale, John David Washington, Margot Robbie, who witness a murder, become suspects themselves, and uncover one of the most outrageous plots in American history. Who's going first? Is it Tyler who's going first today?
I don't know.
Thoughts, man. Yeah, I'll go for it. So... Well, first off, just commenting back on when you said it bombed. So people say movies bombed, but that's like that's a bomb. That's very bad box office scores. But I just couldn't care for this movie at all. The whole movie hinges on you really valuing these three friends that grow this strong bond while together in Amsterdam, which I just didn't care for their friendships. I did not buy John David Washington and Margot Robbie's romance for a single second. I know some of you don't agree with this, but I've heard some other people echo this, that I thought John David Washington's character was so poorly acted. For me, the way I saw it, I would picture myself in a movie, you're immersed in it, which I was never that immersed in this movie. But every time he had a line, I just pictured the director holding a camera in front of his face, because it just felt so forced, so just didn't flow. I just did not care for his performance, and just all in all, didn't care for this friendship. Robert De Niro didn't want to be there. Why was Taylor Swift there? Nothing in this movie I didn't care about. Why is it Amsterdam? Who cares about Amsterdam? It didn't even matter, this plot. It's literally a murder mystery that I couldn't give less of a fuck about, and I was bored the entire time. That's where I'm going to leave it.
Yeah,
that's fair. Seth, what do you got for us?
I mean, when I watched it, again, I thought it might be a review bomb, so I went into the first half an hour. In fairness, I was genuinely quite intrigued. Potentially thinking, okay, maybe this is actually all right. And then so when you get into it, it's like Tyler said, they rely on you connecting with this friendship, which no one cares about. I actually echo Tyler's thoughts that John David Washington, I don't think it was horrendous. It was just boring. I thought the whole cast, Bart, Bale, and Robbie, were pretty just dead behind the eyes. Most of them just looked like they didn't want to be there. Maybe due to, let's be honest, how poor the script was as well. The script was lifeless. The jokes rarely landed, and the only ones that tried their best to keep the intrigue going throughout the performances were Margot Robbie and Christian Bale. But again, I just found it pretty tedious for the most part. There was a few moments I quite liked the way it was shot, the cinematography. I actually quite enjoyed that. But it was pretty tedious. It was not very coherent. They relied on you connecting with the characters, which I just didn't care about, same as Tyler. And I just think, it was just boring, a bad script, good shots now and again, but overall, dead behind the eyes performances. And it was just, Tyler, I think you gave it 1.5 out of 5.
Yeah.
I gave it I gave it a little bit more because I gave it a 2. But yeah, it was just a very below average film for me, definitely.
Yeah. George, your thoughts?
They said everything I thought. I know every single thing they say. It's just a disappointment. It's not the first time we've seen a cluster of acclaimed actors and actresses and turn up in a disappointing movie. But while I was watching this, I was like, this genuinely feels like Robert De Niro is just here for a paycheck. Margot Robbie's just here for a paycheck. And I was texting Tyler after we watched it, I don't know if they were genuinely bad or if Christian Bale was just so good, he made everyone else look like a piece of shit around him. The only reason I give this movie a 2 out of 5 is because I thought Christian Bale was genuinely entertaining in this movie. Excuse me. But other than that, also, I agree with Seth. Everything up until like the murder in question that John David Washington and Christian Bale got framed for, I thought that was great. It was tight. It was very tight. It was very witty. It was very, down to earth, grounded. Then you just bring in this whole slew cluster of useless, plain, bland characters that I just could not give less of a fuck about. And are we spoiling or no?
Let's do a non-spoiler to start.
Okay. Yeah. But then like what ends up like coming to pass and like this massive blah blah blah, no spoilers, it made no sense. It made no sense where the movie started. It kind of felt like David O. Russell wanted to make a Paul Thomas Anderson James Bond movie a little bit.
Wes Anderson kind of as well.
Yeah, Wes. It just didn't work out. He straight, because David O. Russell, and I know we're not praising him or talking, but his strong suit is just 5 characters, just 5 tight-knit characters in a room, and he showed that in the first like 25 minutes of this movie, and then he just got so out of hand, and it just felt so bland. I saw a 10 p.m. showing of it. I almost wanted to fall asleep. I genuinely at one point almost asked Victoria to leave. When that credit started rolling, I've never walked out of a theater faster.
Did you watch the little like post-credit like clips? I didn't either. No. I was gone.
I didn't even know there was. I was out the door as soon as they started.
Yeah, I was. It was such a disappointment between, and to everyone listening, obviously this is all subjective, but like between Don't Worry, Darling, Blonde, now Amsterdam, it's just been a disappointment train the last month or so.
All of these were anticipated by all.
Yeah, these were all. Don't Worry, Darling, and Amsterdam were 2 of my most anticipated movies of the year, and now they're in like the back 10% of my rankings.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna note that like we haven't gotten such a shit movie that we're all like 0.5 like this terrible, and we also haven't gotten a great movie.
Marmaduke.
Yeah, we haven't gotten a Marmaduke. We haven't gotten a 365 Days. We haven't gotten a On the Other Side and Everything Everywhere All at Once. So hopefully, towards the back end of the year, we're coming down to this is Oscar season. This is where people start putting out their good movies. I really think we'll get some good movies. Black Adam could be on either side, but it's probably going to be right in the middle.
I think that'll be a middle. I think that'll be like a 3-star.
I think it could be on either side, but who knows?
The fact that we all agree or disagree so far,
it's really annoying. Like
I want to fight you guys.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Smile last week was great to see.
Oh yeah, smile. Yeah.
And that's okay, George. That's gonna happen with Violent Night as well. You're gonna love it. Sure, I'm gonna think it's shit, and 100%. It's just boring. You're gonna love that shit. So that's
Cam, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, back to Amsterdam. I have it at a 45 out of 100, so a 2.5 out of 5. My big takeaway from this movie is I did really like Christian Bale. And like you guys said, up until the flashbacks, like even after the murder happens and they're running away, I was like pretty invested. And it's when they go to the flashbacks, when they get to these 3 friends, you don't care about them. I didn't have an issue with John David Washington. I think Margot Robbie's great and everything. Christian Bale, obviously great. The cast, I think they all do well. It
might be scripted.
Unless someone's like truly horrible, like again, I go back to it. Harry Styles frowny face. I'm probably not.
Leave him alone.
I'm probably not going to notice it because I couldn't do that shit. I'd probably be a horrible actor, So it's not something I'll notice as much. It's kind of like the CGI thing. I noticed it when it's like truly bad, but not awful. I don't know. I didn't think they were terrible. Also, in my opinion, like. This it's better than Blonde because it's not RAPE porn. It's better than, I don't know, like Minions, in my opinion. It had some good things in it.
It just felt fun.
Yeah, it's better than Jurassic World Dominion, things like that. I
want your thoughts on one thing. So we're kind of writing off Florence Pugh for an actress nomination because of how bad the reception for Don't Worry, Darling has been. Is it weird?
I'm not writing her off.
I'm not writing her off.
Oh, okay. Well, then I am writing her off.
We might not be, but people.
I am writing her off. I don't think there's any chance that movie gets nominated for anything. My lead-up question was, could you see Christian Bale getting a lead actor nomination, considering how much this movie bombed?
I think
with the controversy as well, I just don't see it happening.
Yeah.
Especially how much it bombed. I just don't see that happening, to be honest. Although I think he was great. I echo all of you. Also, did it need to be that long? Like there were some scenes.
It was really long.
What is the point of these scenes right now?
It's like 2 hours.
Yeah, that's going back to
2 hours 20 or something.
What you've all been saying about like how like it was all good and interesting to the flashbacks when that happened, because like basically it all leads up, the murder happens, what's in question, like that's not a spoiler, it's just a murder mystery movie basically, and then they're like, let's take a step back, and then at that moment my girlfriend literally turned to me and she's like, no. And however long you think in your mind when you watch the movie for the first time the flashbacks will be, times it by 10. It is like an hour and a half of backstory and flashbacks, and then the final 30 minutes it all comes in. Yeah, and it's like. And I know friends who like literally just want to see this movie because like, oh, Amsterdam, like that's like a fun town, like it's gonna be a fun vibe movie. I'm like, no, like all that takes place in Amsterdam, really like, in a room. Like there's no, I wouldn't be surprised if they never went there to film any of this. Like,
and I will say,
incredibly average. It was just incredibly average.
I will say, and I'm going to attribute this to just having a newborn and also no one being in my theater. I fell asleep for 10 minutes. I'm not kidding. I also though I was laying down. I sprawled out across like three chairs. Yeah. I laid down during this. Dude, there was one other person in my theater, and they were like 3 rows down from me.
Me and Tyler said this. Like, it's, I don't know about you, George, as well, but like in my cinema, there was like, I think there was probably about 10 people, and at least 7 of them left about an hour and a half in. And that was Tyler as well. Yeah. Like I was tempted. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. At one point, I was on the back row. I literally just scrolled on my phone for like 10 minutes because I was that bored. Yeah. And like loads of people left. At one point, like
Seth, you texted during it, and I was like, "There's
and that's me as well because I put my phone in like the other room when I watch films. I really want to, but I was just so. And there was people leaving. At one point, I was like, I might leave. This might be my first film I've ever left in the cinema. But...
So it was fun. No one left my theater. I went to a late 10 p.m. showing, so my theater was like 10 people deep.
You said that was the biggest theater you've ever been in, right?
Massive theater.
Oh, yeah.
This theater was
New York City, right?
It was like huge, and it was empty. There was like 10 of us, maybe. Like me and Victoria moved up like 6 rows. Everyone else in the theater, no one left. The only movie that people have left from this year, this new release, is Men, which is understandable.
Oh yeah, loads of people left.
So the left Men.
I was so tempted.
Yeah, but everyone else in my theater for Amsterdam was like middle-aged to like elderly, and they were dying of laughter. They were finding the comedy. I kept looking at Victoria. I'm like, that wasn't even remotely funny. Like that was not funny at all. And I'm usually like respectful when it comes to like looking at my phone during a movie. I don't do it. Even if I'm home, like I like to put my phone down, especially in the theater. I probably check the time every 10 minutes.
That's how you know a film's bad, if you're checking how long it's been on for, like 4 times.
I definitely
I wasn't on my phone. I wasn't like scrolling Insta or TikTok. I just kept checking the time. I was like, I need to get the fuck out of this theater.
Yes. That's how it makes you feel. You just sink into your seat, waiting for time to go by.
Oh my God, it was so
boring. So boring.
At my showing, it was me and my girlfriend, and there's 4 other people in the theater. The 2 people in the theater other than us looked about our age, maybe a little younger, like 20, 21. They both left at about an hour in. And the 2 other people were older, like George said, but we were walking right behind them. We were walking out, and they were like, they just spoke to each other like, that was shit. And I'm like, that basically explains it. So if you think we're just like 4 high and mighty film reviewers on this podcast saying we this movie, genuinely, like, true. But genuinely, like, people walked out of Seth's theater, people walked out of my theater, like, genuinely people I know who have seen this movie do not like it. So it's not just like us being all film bro.
At the same time, this is like a type of like pretentious film bro-y movie that we probably should have liked.
True.
Yeah. I liked some parts of it, like I said, but it's just it's not all there, and it is slow and it's boring. And my last question before we can probably get into spoilers soon, but like, is this the best cast in the worst movie? I'm sure there's gotta be worse. There's gotta be worse because I don't have it that low, at least for me. But every time someone else came on this screen, I'm like, holy shit, I didn't know Remy Malik was
Anya Taylor-Joy, Remy Malik.
Anya Taylor-Joy, like, and then Bob De Niro comes in like halfway through. I knew he was in it, but if you didn't, like, what a cast to
and then
just
Michael
be
Myers,
shit.
like
Michael Myers, Michael Shannon is in it.
Michael
Shannon,
so many.
Bad. I thought like I didn't rate House of Gucci that high. That was very disappointing, and that was a crazy cast. I know I'm in the minority, but like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I don't have rated that high, and that's an incredible cast. Even Don't Worry, Darling, you could argue is a pretty solid cast.
You know, like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, that's like
even now,
you don't rate it that highly, but a lot of people do.
Yeah,
I think this film it's got,
but
like,
it's also outside of Leo, Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie. Who else is in that? Like Margaret Qualley's big now.
Qualley's in it.
She's not big in like mainstream.
Dakota Fanning.
She's kind of big in.
It's just a couple
Austin Butler.
Yeah. Austin Butler.
I have a question. Do we think Austin Butler's great now? Like, is everyone all in on Austin?
I'm all in. I'm all in.
I'm not all in. I'm
okay because I saw that.
Not all in. I think he was great as Elvis.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I think he should win the Oscar. But
we said the same thing.
I need to see more because
that was kind of my question with like the
Elvis
bike riders.
is just so it's such a specific tone of voice and acting style that he perfectly nailed. I'm waiting for Dune 2. I'm waiting for the Bike Riders, wherever that movie's coming out.
Is he in Dune 2?
Yeah, he's playing the Emperor's nephew.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
that's kind of hype. So is Florence Pugh.
Yeah, she's in it too.
She's swimming in roles, isn't she?
Yeah, but that's what I was going to say with the Bike Rider is like his name doesn't bring me to it yet. It's the Tom Hardy, it's the Jodie Comer, it's the Michael Shannon like brings me to it. He's an addition.
No one's going to see a movie right now for Austin Butler.
I'd like to hear Tyler's because I'm definitely with George on this. Like Elvis is such a specific role. I actually only watched Elvis last week, so it's like fresh, and it was such a specific role, but it was done so well. But like, I'm definitely not sold. Tyler, I know you said you were, didn't you?
I'm higher on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood than most, and I thought his character did good in that. I enjoyed him in that. I thought he played the role of Tex well, and then he followed.
Oh, I like him a lot.
Yeah, so I don't know. Just give me 2 strong movies until he gives me a reason to. Otherwise, I'm sold. I'm ready for him.
He was on Zoe 101, right? Is that what I remember him from? He's still very Nickelodeon in my mind. I
was it Nickelodeon or Disney Channel? But I don't know. I think he bounced around a couple of shows.
I thought he was on like iCarly and Zoe 101.
What show was Austin Butler?
I think you might be right. Yeah, Victoria coming in with the clutch assist here, maybe.
The Carrie Diaries.
Nah, that's not what I'm thinking of. That's not what I'm thinking of, but doesn't matter. Back to Amsterdam. Let's get into spoilers. Any non-spoiler thoughts? So just to recap, George 2 out of 5, Tyler 1.5 out of 5, Seth 2 out of 5, and then I have it at 2.5 out of 5 of 45 out of 100. Tyler, what was your score out of 10?
Sorry, go on.
Score out of 10 was like a 3.2, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it's a film where it was definitely not the worst film of the year, nowhere near, but I think some people probably will enjoy this. It is a film. You might enjoy it, but we didn't really. That's it.
So any like spoiler thoughts, George? You can give yours.
I don't even care to talk spoilers about this movie. My one thing is like it started, and like I said, the movie started as such like a grounded, like nice, tight knit, just group of friends. They got framed for a murder. Let's go from there. And then it turns into this whole cluster of Nazis
it took a weird
where did that
Nazi
come from?
turn. Yeah, right. I agree.
So dumb. It was
like set that up in the start of the movie, so you kind of know it's there. But
they panned out of like the Remy Malik's house, and you saw like the bushes of like the swastika, and I'm like, where the fuck did this come from?
And it's like, but they say in it that it's like you wouldn't notice it unless you were looking at it from the top, and it's like, well, you didn't show it to us from the top, so how the it doesn't matter. You didn't give us a clue. You just showed us bushes. Like you didn't. I don't know.
It was just a cluster.
Zoe Saldana's in this too. I forgot about that. Sorry.
Yeah,
some people thought she was really good. Actually,
I mean, I like her in a lot of things. But
she is. Yeah,
she was in it for what 3.5 minutes.
A bit longer than that, wasn't it?
Zoe Saldana.
She was not in that long.
She was in the morgue scene, and then she was in the end. But
she wasn't here that long, was she?
Yeah, I don't know.
So why people say she was? All right,
I don't know. The only spoiler. Oh, go ahead, George.
No, you go.
I was gonna say the only spoilers I really care to talk about is 1, if you're a pop star being cast in a movie, your fate is not going to end well, and 2, Remy Malik, and I feel like the final end of this film with like who the villains ended up being was so obvious. Like maybe it's just Remy Malik. I see him and I'm immediately like bad guy. But then, like, the guy who tried to kill him in the beginning of the movie is the one who ends up trying to shoot him at the end. So it's like...
It was so obvious.
It's dumb.
Nothing.
Taylor Swift.
Also, where are we at with Taylor Swift then? Harry Styles.
Why was she in this movie?
Dude, because she's a big-ass name. She probably drew more people than... She probably draws more people than an Anya Taylor-Joy at this point.
I mean, yeah, probably.
Definitely.
She's a bigger name.
I don't know.
Yeah, but have you guys seen Cats?
No.
She's not great in that.
What did you give that? I want to know.
It's like a 9 or it's either a 9 or like a 10 out of 100.
I thought it was worse. I thought it was worse than that. Yeah. I've heard people say it's like the worst film ever.
That seems too high for the reception that movie has gotten.
Yeah. Like, it's bad if a 9 seems high.
Do I have it?
Generous.
I definitely have rated it.
I'm not watching that.
Yeah, okay, Cats, a 9 out of 100. And my 9 points are, I think some of them, I remember this, like, because I watched it in my college fraternity, and then told my friends about it. The music's not bad. Like, I like some of the music, and that's where I'll give it a 9. But everything else is shit. That's beside the point.
One of my favorite reviews of yours. When he did 365 days, one of the first, and he gave it like a 1 because he likes like one of the songs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's your one redeeming quality. I have a couple random points just about this. Margot Robbie says "where" like wheat thins. That she says it 3 times in one scene in Amsterdam, and that's why I noticed. I'm like, whoa, what are you doing "where" for? You know, that kind of pissed me off, but not really going to take points away for it. At one point, Christian Bale talking to his wife, played by Andrea Riseborough. I don't really know her from a lot of things, to be honest with you. He mentions that they used to sit in their room and just read Dickinson to each other. If I ever do that, take me out to the barn and shoot me. After he is framed for this murder, he goes back to work. You're framed for murder. Why are you going back to work? Doesn't matter, but
it's his own practice. He doesn't have a boss.
Yes, but he was framed for murder. Like, I don't know why he was there. And then last, at the very end, Christian Bale's wife, Beatrice, weirdly, really, you might notice it, you might not, really, really bad audio and lips not matching up. And like a scene where it does matter. It's just weird small things that I notice, and then I don't notice when someone's a bad actor. I
love your movie. They're amazing.
Yeah. I had to write it down. Like, really horrible. Like, she's kind of turned so you can see her lips, but the audio is nothing close to what she's saying, and it's really bad.
I might search this. I wonder if anyone else noticed it.
Maybe. Yeah, and then I slept for 10 minutes. Those are the only parts I took note of.
That's all you need. That's all you need to know.
I mean, I have some other things in there, but nothing useful.
I'm done with Amsterdam.
I think that's our review of Amsterdam.
Cynical.
Just stupid movie, not good. Fuck the director. Blanket statement. Anti David O. Russell. Why are people working with him? Why is he still in Hollywood? Get him out. All that jazz. Hopefully he's done, but